You are now listening to a member of the Disney Podcast family. Head over to Disney Podcast Family on Instagram to see all the latest posts for this show and links to other great Disney podcasts.
Melissa Pilgrim is our choice for your next Disney vacation. You can reach her at amagicalpilgrimage@gmail.com. We thank her for her support.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejados de las puertas.
This is a wild ride in
So today on Miles from Main Street, I'm here and I've got some guests coming along. We're going to be talking about the new Multipass news that just came out on Tuesday from Disney. We are going to also be handling some of the other updates. We've got Tiana's opening on Friday. Can't believe that's coming up already. That seems like a quick turnaround for them. So I'm excited for that to open. But if you enjoy the show and you're having a great time, please like and subscribe to the show on your podcast app, on YouTube. We are on the road to 500 and could use your help. And now, more importantly, though, we need you to share the show with a friend or a family member. Let them know about us. Let them know you're having a great time. We'd love to have them join us as well. Like I said, we've got Corey and we've got Lawrence coming over from Living in Diz. Can't wait to talk to them. They're going to give us a nice update on Disney World. We're going to talk about Multipass halfway to the holidays. Melissa Winters, I meant to say it at the beginning. Happy 626 Day, happy Stitch Day, everyone that celebrates. I told my daughter this morning, and she immediately changed into her Stitch pants and has been excited all day. She's a big Stitch fan, so it was a great thing for her to do. So, Disney Dina, hello to you as well. Thanks for coming over from Living in Diz. They just finished up their show. They got to talk to Eula Toka. She was the inspiration behind Tiana. So I'm going to tell you guys, you got to head over to Living in Diz. They have a wonderful podcast over there on Wednesdays. They also do a show live most days from the parks, and it's a great time with them. So I appreciate them coming on the show tonight. Let's say hello to Corey.
How's it going?
Good, Corey. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. We are fresh off of our podcast, and I left Lawrence behind, so he should be joining us any moment now, I would think.
Yes, he is just here. I do have to. We were just talking Stitch. We're kind of matching a little bit. I've got the Etsy version of Stitch. So I'm glad you guys are celebrating along with me.
I love it. It's different from my shirt in the sense that, Stitch is kind of camouflaged, but he really pops on your shirt with the green leaves behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
I don't remember where I got mine. It was probably Amazon.
Okay. And they've got great stuff too. I've been hearing from a lot of people that Roosevelt's is really good, so I've been wanting to try one of them. I know you guys have your own Distress. Did I get that right?
Seamstress. Yes. Yeah.
The Streamstress.
The Streamstress, right. That's why I change shirts in between shows, see?
Yeah, Mikhailo is usually with us. He is actually running lighting for a show tonight, so he won't be able to be with us.
Oh.
But he'll be back. I'm sure he'll be disappointed to know that you guys were on the show, because I didn't tell him.
Oh.
Oh, well, Kylo, hello. We miss you, man.
All right. So Guys, Lawrence, I didn't really give you a formal welcome, so hello. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, like I said, I really appreciate you guys coming over. So as people have already done, feel free to leave comments, questions as we go along the way, and we'll take them as we go. So, yeah, let's have some fun. First off, we've got Tiana's Bayou Adventure opening on Friday. I can't believe it's already here. I was just saying, like, it seems like it was a quick turnaround, really, when you think about it. It was about a year and a half that it was closed. I mean, when you think about the announcement, it's been 4 years, but they didn't shut down Splash Mountain until the end of 22. So, Corey, I believe you've been on it, right?
I have. I finally got a chance to ride that last Thursday. Was it only? No. Well, I'm throwing off because I was away for a week. So yeah, 2 Thursdays ago almost. I was on it, and leading up to it, there were a lot of issues. For anybody that's been following any of that, the ride is definitely shutting down quite often throughout the day, and either delaying people's times to ride or even turning people away for the day. So I took the day off to do it and was just hoping. I knew, given the recent history of it and how it was going, that I may be in it for the long haul. I was thinking, well, maybe I'll live stream from open to 1 or 2, and then I'll go home and hang with the family. But it turned into an all-day live stream because I didn't get on until about 7:30, and then it was finally like, you know what? Why would I go home now? So, but I did get a chance to ride it, and I think it exceeded expectations for me. The big thing that stood out to me was just the fun of it. Some people online have complained that there's no real storyline to it, and that just kind of made me say, you know what? Why do we need a storyline? Maybe we don't always need a storyline. Maybe there is a storyline, and they just didn't pick up on it. I was just enjoying the music, just like I did with Splash Mountain. I didn't look any deeper into that. I just enjoyed the music along the way. And the thing that really got me was the changes that they did make, of course, was the upgrade of these animatronics. These animatronics are incredible. To me, it felt like, all right, we've watched a lot of new things open in these international parks, and look at the level of their animatronics. And we're finally there at Walt Disney World at home. We're finally there with that level of animatronics. And there was just enough subtleness of addition of some screens as well, integrated. I loved the ride. I love it, and I look forward to riding it for many years to come.
That's awesome. I am super excited to ride it myself. We get to go at the end of October, but I've watched it, and the storyline piece, I've seen it talked about where you do shrink down, and it's not clear as to why. So I'm curious what you experienced with that.
Say that again. What?
You shrink down at one point and basically become the size of a frog.
Okay, I totally missed that. I didn't get that.
And there's a part where the bigger frog is playing the drums, and I think there's a small drop, and Mama Odie has a screen above her, I believe, above the boat, and Mama Odie casts a spell or something like that, and you fall down. And if you look around, like, the frogs are big. There's a screen as you come out right before the big drop of Tiana and Lewis, and they're giant in the screen.
That is correct. Okay. Well, I rode it once, and I was live streaming. So hey. I really, I didn't even know what she was saying. So I will pay attention to that on Saturday. So to me, that enhances the ride even more, right? To be able to do that. That's a nice little addition there. So that's pretty cool.
Let me say this then. Okay, so Corey didn't pick up on that. There are people that are saying there isn't a storyline. Maybe they're missing it just as much as he is. I'll say the same thing. I said the same thing about Luminous, right? The first night after we watched Luminous, I was like, it was nice. There was some nice, but I don't get it. And it took Cliff Flicks explaining it, and then I finally got it. So I would guess that it's probably the same thing, because we all know that Disney is great at storytelling. I'm betting there's a story there that we're missing.
True.
And I've heard from other people that have ridden it a few times that you do need to ride it a few times to fully understand it. And that seems to be Disney's thing, right? You want people to come back and ride it again. So, having multiple things going on so that there's more to see, more to enjoy every time you ride it. That's something that they're going to do. And so I've just heard that storyline a lot, for the people don't know why they get shrunk down.
Oh, okay. I will definitely look for that. I'll let the family know ahead of time too. And at the end, and especially as a live streamer streaming the ride for the first time, there's so much going on in that final scene. I didn't know where to put the camera. I mean, I did, but I couldn't put it there very long. So I was like, I wish they could have slowed the log down a little bit here at the end, because there's lots to see on your left, there's lots to see on your right, and then straight ahead there's a ton. So yeah, I wish they would slow it down right there. But there's so much to see, and the animatronics are amazing.
That's what I've heard. Lewis is unbelievable when you see him. So I can't wait to see that. I was going to ask one more thing, and it's gone.
We can be seen live now, by the way, just so you know.
Oh, good. I just saw we had some freezing issues, so I was making sure that we were good. I'll throw this out too, Mr. Cruise Fever. Thank you for subscribing, and also Melissa. I really appreciate that. We have a lot of fun here too. So
exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm excited to ride Tiana's. I'm excited for the store to open. I've seen that they're selling the seasonings from Dookie Chase, and I'm a seasoning guy. I enjoy smoking meat and taking care of making the food taste good, right? So I'm really excited to get that stuff. I'm a big New Orleans food fan, so that and the hot sauce sounds really good. So I'm excited for that, along with the merch. My wife is enamored with the new ears.
Oh, I mean,
in October, so it'll the store will be open by then, so you'll get to experience. I think I might miss the store. We'll be there July 3rd, and I don't think the store has an opening date. Do we know? Because I don't.
No, I do not know. I don't know of one. I thought the store would be open on Saturday, but no,
I don't believe so.
Oh, it's
kind
been
of crazy. You can get a ride together, but you can't get the store together, right?
It's not a huge store. It's not like you're opening the Emporium.
Maybe it comes down to the merch. Maybe they just don't have everything they need.
Yeah, that could be. Because I was going to say it's fully stocked right now, and they've had the media going through it during press events. So I mean, you can see tours. Mammoth Club already did one. So
I need to check that out. I need to see that. I want to see what the merch is like.
So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was that they weren't going to be open in time for the previews, but it will be open in time for the ride.
Yeah, I would love to go check that out on Saturdays for sure.
Well, I'll be watching, Corey, so I hope that you can get in there.
Same. Let's pray for a smooth day of rides for sure.
So that's going to be a shift in the park, I guess, wait. And everyone's going to shift that direction for a few days, maybe a month or so. Might be easy to get on Space Mountain this weekend. You never know.
I think so. I was even looking at the flow of what was going on when the DVC members were riding the other day, probably Monday, because I know I was heading to Magic for the night, and it really seemed like there were a lot of lower than normal wait times going on Monday.
Okay. Yeah, so that'll be nice. And of course, things will be changing in the other parks as well. So it might be easier to see Communicore Hall. And have you experienced this yet?
Yes, we have. And I've had time to digest it all as well, because, I do feel like having a live channel mostly, sometimes you kind of get caught up in the moment and things like that. But then you wake up the next day and go, wow, I might have overrated this particular food a little too much. Or wait, you know what? I should have said more. But yeah, we checked it out. I didn't get to check out the Encanto performances because those end earlier in the day.
Mhm.
But there was a band up playing some fun music, and I'm trying to remember the name of that band. I want to say El Calo, but it's
I think it was La Calle.
okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, guests were not just watching; they were participating. There had to be
Yeah.
20, 25 people trying to do the dances along with the performances. That's a nice live area there. I love it now because it's so wide open. We're used to seeing walls, right? Now you can stand in Dreamer's Point area and all that area there and have no walls. You just look around and you're like, wow, this is so free. So it can be kind of sort of peaceful over there, but you can come over for musical entertainment as well. When you look at the building itself, so it's great to have an indoor meet and greet now again for characters. So that's in one area of the building. I do love the other corner of the building where they're serving festival favorites. So
Yeah.
Lawrence and I have talked about this. I have so many ideas for this festival favorites because they can do so much with it, and I hope they get everything out of it that I hope for, which is, it says festival favorites, right? So maybe you feature, food and wine is coming up. So maybe you put some of the top popular, they know what's popular in each and every festival. So maybe they put on the menu 3 or 4 items that are very popular to that. But what I would say to make it better is, why don't you put festival favorites in there of all time or of the last year? How cool would it be to, this is funny, right? Because I always bash the cookie stroll. But what if the best cookie on the cookie stroll is available in July? You can just go over there and get the best of. They really should do a little Hall of Fame of foods for the wonderful festivals we have year round.
Well,
so, go ahead.
Well, and that was going to be my question was, like right now it's festival favorites, but there's no festival. So what are they serving? Are there some favorites in there?
Oh, let me tell you, what they're serving could become quick favorites because they have a slushy drink. There's an alcoholic. Well, the alcoholic is different than the non. I tried the non, and it was mango coconut, I think. It was a perfect blend. Passion fruit and coconut. Perfect blend. 5 out of 5 Mickeys. It was nuts how good it was. It was so good that my friend Neil's wife, Alyssa, had 2 of them. I've never seen her have 2 of anything. She loved it. And there was a pastry that I got. It was like a pie kind of thing. I'd have to go back. But that was very, very good, too. It was kind of like where they took the cream on top and they kind of burn it a little bit. They toast it. The consistency was nice and smooth and just very tasty. So that was good. And then when you get over to the back end, this was my thing. I would rather have not opened this area yet until August 29th, which is the opening of Food and Wine. Because I think that you opened something that's functioning maybe 2/3 of the way, and you're not giving people a chance to see it at its full power, its full strength. Because I think the area that's just tables right now is going to become something even better and bigger that people are going to end up loving. Because being able to be in there, we looked to one of the walls, and there's like literal key locks on this glass, and it's really tall glass. So obviously, and there's countertops. So they're gonna open these babies up, and they're gonna be serving food, and it's a long haul. So, how much are they gonna put in there? It's exciting to think about the possibilities. What are they gonna do with this when Food and Wine opens? Are we getting extra food booths? Are you going to get less booths out in the park? Who knows? So it's going to be very interesting to see.
Instead of 30 booths, we've got 40, 45.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it. So overall, I like it. And I think we're going to love it more when it shows itself at full strength.
So I did, just to go back and correct myself, I did find on Disney's website, Critter Co-op does open on June 28th, and it's actually going to be mobile checkout. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
I haven't used that yet.
Still,
Very
it's
easy.
nice. It's nice. I don't do it enough, but it is nice.
Perfect.
And
Yeah,
if you're
if
an
you see
annual
that the
pass
line-
holder, it puts your discount right in. So you don't even have to worry about that.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But back to Communicore Hall, I've seen a lot of discussion about that hallway and how it looks like a college building. But like you said, it's opening at the wrong time. They should have waited until fall, but I think they were just in a hurry to get this done, right? Get those walls out, move on to the next thing. They've got Test Track now down, and they have to update that, right?
Yeah.
And if I may, for a second, being it's Stitch Day, I did recently hear a story on a Disney Dish with Jim Hill. He told a quick story about the stage at Tomorrowland being, it was supposed to be an interactive Stitch performance in the likes of Turtle Talk with Crush. And because it opened in the summer in the blazing sun and there was no cover there, it became an issue immediately, and no one was really going to watch it because it was a half-hour long show. You'd have to get there half an hour early to get a seat. You're sitting on the hot pavement in the sun, and they couldn't find a way to fix that. But had it waited until August or September, probably more September, October, when things are starting to cool off, right? They may have been able to figure out the issues before it became a flop. And so now I'm looking at the same idea with Communicore Hall, the performance stage. The first thing I heard someone say is, did they really put the audience out in the sun? And most of, like the stage is covered, but most of the audience are going to be sitting in the sun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know how Disney doesn't think of these things sometimes, because there are lines and attractions and things that people have to stand there for or be there for, and there's no shade. Is it aesthetics? Because I'm looking at it and it's beautiful in itself with those angled pillars that have spotlights coming off them and everything. I mean, it wouldn't look good. It wouldn't look good if they put cover there for people. Okay. Maybe in the main walk. I don't know. I never thought of this. They could have done a better job. They didn't do this right in terms of keeping people undercover. There's no cover out there whatsoever. So,
and that's difficult, especially for people from Wisconsin coming down. Shiny white and having to stand out in the sun, it's not good. But you've got not only that going on, but like you said, the hallway, I don't know what we want to call it yet. If it's just
the cafeteria,
the cafeteria, yeah, like it's getting a lot of hate online, and like you said, Disney's doing something with this. We just don't get to see it until the end of August. And it's going to be amazing. I believe the space is supposed to take over what the Odyssey's been doing for the last few years. And, they're going to have those clinics by the chefs. They're going to have the different interactions. Santa will probably be over there now. It's always going to be lively during the festivals. But right now, we don't get to see that.
I put on my old retail days hat and think this was probably the soft opening for it, right? The construction was done. Let's not wait until the start of that festival to open it up. Let's kind of make sure everything is running and all that kind of stuff. Let's give people the entertainment outdoors. If that was the case, I wish that they would have said, oh, and we're not done yet. Just wait until you see what the festival hall has in store when we have a festival, something like that. Because otherwise it is falling flat with a lot of people, because they think, okay, it's, I have the same thing at my college cafeteria. So what?
Yeah, I think that could have been somewhat fixed on social media, right? They're on Instagram every day with something.
Mhm.
Day one they could have put that, right, and we're not done yet, and shown you some art, concept art, and things like that. Of this is what's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even the flags that are hanging inside, um, are all the flags of Epcot. There's a flag for Guardians, but you have to really look at it to see the Guardian symbol and the land and the seas and all of that. So there are a lot of callbacks to the original Epcot, but you have to be able to look at it to see it. I found one. There's this guy, I can't recall his name now. I'm trying to get him on our show. Who does a great job at calling out some of that stuff. So in Connections, there's an area of bar tables, and they all have a lot of outlets, charging stations, and all that.
Hmm.
That exact space is where Energy Exchange used to be in Communicore. That exact spot where those tables are is where Energy Exchange used to be. Like, that was done on purpose, but Disney doesn't say it. Like, they should have came out and said that, and people would have probably embraced all the new buildings a lot. Because when you look around, social media, you see all these people talking about it's plain, right? The new McDonald's. We all had the McDonald's with the red roof and the playhouse, the play place, and all that. And now you get the big gray buildings, and that's it, right? Same thing with Starbucks and all that. And people talk about that, and they say that Disney's doing the same thing, but Disney's calling out to their history. They're just not doing a good job of saying that they're doing it.
And that's an interesting point, because you go looking for story and background of some of the theming that they do. I'm thinking of Dinoland, of course, where no one really understands the theming of it.
Mhm.
There's no book, there's no story out there telling you what they're trying to tell.
Yeah.
It's up for you to figure it out. And I wanted to point out, Disney Dina said they can figure out a way to create an aesthetically pleasing cover. They are Disney. Let's go back to Toy Story Land when it first opened. There was no cover, and it's still quite open, right?
It's still minimal,
yeah, because it's a backyard. And I think a lot of what happens is that you get the Imagineers, they do their thing, they create exactly what they want it to be. They don't think about the cover, they don't think about the conditions necessarily. And so then they hand it over to the park, and the park goes, oh no, everyone's baking out here. What do we do? And then you start seeing these umbrellas pop up, and you start seeing different things to try to help people in that regard. So maybe, the she distracted me. Oh gosh, Andy's dad forgot to plant trees in his backyard. LOL. That's so true. Like, they didn't think about that part. But then again, look at the size of Woody when you walk in there. Are you going to plant a tree that big?
Yeah, she said that, and I was thinking, well, maybe you take those Tinker Toys and things like that, and maybe you I think they could have worked something in there where Andy thought of his toys would be walking around, or whatever, smaller figures, and he made cover for them. I think that would be an easy thing to incorporate. But I did pause when we were talking about the cover over there with the Communicore area, and it's like the way it was built, there's nothing they can do about it because of the way those pillars are. They're angled. It's down a walkway with some turf on the sides, okay? But where would you put that cover? They couldn't even put the cover above those pillars because I think part of the reason of the lighting up there, they're utilizing that lighting to the max. When you're in World Showcase and you're in America at 10:15, an hour and 15 after close, I don't know who does that, but if you were, you would see these lights just gracing the skies. And the first night I saw that, I'm like, what I mean, I even think it was Alicia. He was in chat where, what are those lights? I'm like, I don't even know. Magic? I don't know. And we got over there, and it was all those pillars just going nuts with a light show. So they couldn't even put a cover above that because there goes their light show. It's a good one. That's a good one for people to really sit and think about. But they do need to do something about that. Maybe you cover the turf, and it'll be people's choice. But it's where people dance and interact. Where I saw is right out in front of the stage. So I don't know where that.
Isn't that covered right there in front of the stage? Like they kind of leave that concrete pad open for that dancing, and then the fake grass or whatever beyond.
I'll have to take a closer look next time tomorrow when I'm there, because it does come out, but I'm not sure if it comes out to that first pad to cover some people. But those people weren't even in that area. They were backed up a little bit more. They weren't right up to the stage because, if I remember correctly, they had someone teaching the dance in that area.
Okay.
So the audience wasn't right on top of the stage like they typically might be.
Okay. The other thought I had was the old electric, I'm having trouble saying it, electric umbrella, those canopies that they had. Maybe I didn't know if that would be something they could fit in there. But the way you're talking about it doesn't sound like there's a way to do anything. So
yeah, I just think the way it's designed, it could be tough. I think it's going to be a challenge. So I guess we'll stay tuned. Like you said, though, Disney does eventually come up with something a lot of times. So let's see what maybe they come up with.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for that.
So a couple other things that we should probably hit up. We won't talk again, I'm sure, on my show at least, about Country Bears, and that's going to be opening next month. You guys excited to see that?
Look for the bare necessities. Yes. I am, because I'm interested in listening to what songs they come up with, and I'm sure the originals are going to feel like the oldies. I think it's going to be good, and I love bare necessities, so that's one that would be a lot of fun. And I think if they bring back some of the songs that people know and love in terms of the IPs, I think you're going to get more audience participation in singing along with the songs.
Yeah, I heard Try Everything and I was hooked, so I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I think that's another one that when it closed, we didn't have a date, and then all of a sudden they said summer, and I was like, oh, that's pretty quick. And especially the way it ended that night. Like, I don't know if you were watching any of the live streams that night, but the show went down, and they tried everything they could to bring it back up right up until park closed, and they just couldn't do it. So it was, the line went all the way back past Pirates, waiting for it to open back up, and it never opened back up. So it was just very anticlimactic. But they did allow people to walk through the pre-show area and the
auditorium.
Thank you. And people were singing, and it was great. But again, I thought it was pretty quick to reopen that, just like you mentioned about Tiana. It's like it seemed like it was here. So we're excited.
Speaking of those renovations, right next to it, the shooting range just closed.
Yeah.
And there are walls up there for the DVC lounge. Did you hear what I said? To somebody in chat was like, commenting about, oh, that's it for that. I stopped dead in my tracks, and I turned and I showed that on camera. I go, come on, people. I'm like, are we really going to pretend we cared about the shooting range? Like, really? Come on now. That enough is enough. We don't care about that.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to grasp everything that changes.
Yeah. When I told Catherine that it was closing, she was like, what? What is it? Because we hadn't been there. I went as a kid, but I hadn't taken them, and nope.
We all love Disney, and we get it, right? But, if they remove the curb that's in front of Pecos Bills, there'd be a whole thing about it. No, that was there since, opening day. No.
The last time we were there, we were walking past the shooting range, and Kylo went sprinting over, picked up a gun, took one shot, and then came back to us. And the whole time, everyone in my party, my wife, me, my kids, we're at his wife. We're all going, "What are you doing?" Like nobody does that.
I never even picked up a gun over there until about a month ago when they announced that it was free to do.
Oh,
So we went over there and shot live on the channel, and I think it's a little bit. You know what? It's easier to shoot that than Buzz Lightyear. I was just like, boom, boom. I was hitting everything. So I think it's a little more forgiving. Buzz needs to be that way too. I think I got Galactic Hero on the shooting range.
there you go.
You know what's funny about Frontierland though? So we're getting Country Bears back, but we're losing the shooting gallery. And then we're getting Tiana's, but then we're losing Big Thunder for refurb for quite a while. So
6 months, yeah.
it's going to be tough to lose that one. And Finley, my 5-year-old daughter, did it for the first time on this last trip and absolutely loved it. So she'll be disappointed that it's closing. But I think we'll make it on this trip. I can't remember when
What's the date on that?
I don't remember.
Okay. What was I going to say about? Oh, I can confirm this. The big wigs were there this week. So
Yep,
they were here. So obviously, when a lot of times when they make visits, it's for projects coming up. So pretty sure they were checking out, and permits have been filed. So it's not a matter of if and any anymore. The Beyond Thunder Mountain project is on its way. The question is, what will we get? You know, I hear strong opinions that it sounds like we're going to get the Cars ride. That one sounds pretty,
I haven't heard that
pretty
one.
firm with some rumors. It's rumors, but it sounds pretty firm. I'm not going to pretend I have sources on that. We love Braden and from Mickey Views, and he has a strong feeling about that one. So he's usually right with that stuff. So there's that.
Like there was some art that was done that showed a villain's castle or mountain or something back there.
That's supposed to blend in to Haunted Mansion area. So let's hope so. And it would be cool, right, if Disney used that area as a test zone, that if it gets that popular, that they just do a whole Villains Park, or, you know, Villains gets a nice chunk of a park if there was a fifth gate.
Yeah, I would like that too.
I did see an article today. I think it was Inside the Magic. Is that what it's called? Just assuming, I'm sure. But with the success of Inside Out 2, they were mentioning maybe do we see something behind there, you know, with Inside Out 2.
Have you seen the ride at Disneyland? There's an Inside Out ride.
They just have a tiny ride.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of like for little ones.
Yeah.
Familiar with
go up and down.
Kind of cute.
Emotional Whirlwind, I believe.
Is that what it's
That's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah. I shouldn't.
It was down when we were there, so I didn't get to do that. But that's okay.
Oh, can we mention Grandma Grover in the chat? She says, "Did you know Sleepy Hollow took the waffle sandwiches off the menu?" We didn't even get a chance to talk about that, Lawrence.
I was going to bring that up. Like this, I put this online. Like this is Mr. Toad's Wild Ride level bad. Like we should be having sit-ins. We should be tying ourselves to the chairs. Like this is not good. My daughter and my wife, who are big Disney nerds like the rest of us, like they don't want to go anymore.
And it's really crazy. I put, we have a mod chat for all the mods on Corey's channel. Excuse me. And I put that in chat. Before I put it in chat, I was like, somebody make sure that Corey is sitting down.
Oh, I didn't see that part.
Oh, yeah. Somebody make sure Corey's sitting down. The fresh fruit waffle sandwich is no more.
It is so iconic on our channel. It is one of, if you said, Brian, if you're like, what are your top 10 favorite moments in the 6-year history of your channel? And one of the first things I always think of is, let me see, if Jacob is 16, maybe he was 9. We'll just say it for numbers' sake. My 9-year-old son doing one of his first food reviews at Disney and takes a bite of that fresh fruit waffle sandwich from his little mouth. It's so big to eat. And he says it was very much delicious. And I carry that clip on my phone, and I play it now and then when we're live. And I have said multiple times that the best quick serve snack in all of Magic Kingdom, maybe in all of Walt Disney World, is the fresh fruit waffle sandwich. I don't know what they're doing over there, but that should not have gone. My mind is quickly goes to money. So was it not selling? I mean, if it wasn't, I understand. But why else would we have gotten rid of this?
Yeah. I even said, well, they are selling the Mickey waffle, and you can order it with bananas and Nutella on it. And then you can get a side of the strawberries and blueberries to add to it. And I got lambasted for that one too. Like, you don't know, that's not the same thing.
I might I don't know if it's a protest. I might go right up to the window and be like, I'm going to make my own fresh fruit waffle sandwich, please. I will take that Mickey waffle and the Nutella and give me a side of blueberries and strawberries, please. Yeah, totally blown away by that news. Totally blown away. It's iconic on our channel and our family for those reasons.
Well, and it's always been on our top 10 lists. It's always been something we talk about. We tell everybody that is going and asks us what to do. We tell them this is a spot that you stop. Out of COVID, that was one of our big memories. Was we left. I think we left Epcot early that day, headed over to Magic Kingdom. For the last hour of the day, all we did was beeline over to Sleepy Hollow and grab a couple of sandwiches and sit there and take in the castle. There were no fireworks at that time, so it was just a peaceful moment to sit and just enjoy the ambiance. And now it's gone.
Right out of COVID, you could not get that fresh fruit waffle sandwich beyond noon. Did you know that?
I do know that, and I didn't know it at the time, because when we got there that night, I said, can I get one? Because it wasn't on the menu. And she said, oh, yeah, sure. And they made one right up for me.
Oh, lucky you.
I know.
Okay.
I found that out later, and I was like, what? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because they for all that time, I never was able to get one because I don't show up to the parks during the week till nighttime. And even on a Saturday, we show up after 12. So it was a long time before I got my mouth on a fresh fruit waffle sandwich again.
Yeah.
What did she say? Disney Dina said, of course, they were selling. I heard it had to do with how much quicker and easier and ahead of time the waffles can be made. I'm not happy, but that's what I heard.
That's interesting, because one of the great things about those sandwiches is that it was a fresh made waffle. If they're not making the waffles back there anymore, that's really going to hurt what's going on there. So, yeah,
very true. Yeah, that makes
very upsetting.
That would make a big difference. But just so waffles from All Star Music in the morning for breakfast. Those are just the leftovers.
Yeah, they just ship them over there now, Sleepy Hollow. Yeah. I know how it can be more efficient. We can get all our Mickey waffles around all resorts, and we'll just shove them all over to Magic.
Yeah,
it's not good. Not good. I do have my. We're gonna hit up the Halloween party at the end of October, and I think my new costume is just going to be me holding a picket sign saying "Bring back the waffles," because
I love it.
I wish I was able to be there now and doing that, but it has to be.
If you do that, then watch the parade from right in front of Sleepy Hollow. Party. There you go. Which is, by the way, my favorite spot to watch that parade is right there in front of Sleepy Hollow.
It is awesome. We have always caught it, I believe, over in Adventureland when we watch it. So, yeah. All right. So we've hit a lot of these popular items that are coming up, but big news came out just yesterday. Multipass. Goodbye, Genie Plus. Hello, Fastpass Plus 2.0. or are we at 3.0 now? I've lost track, but
Yeah, it's debatable.
yeah. But multi-pass. So multi-pass is the Lightning Lane. I guess we're going with Lightning Lane, and we're going to have the multi-pass and the single pass, right? So multi-pass is your traditional fast pass where you get 3 selections that you can pick 7 days before you get there. If you're staying on property, and you get to pick for your entire stay starting on that 7-day mark. If you're off property, then you get 3 days prior to pick for each day, so it kind of goes along. But a couple of the things that I have seen is that they're going to do the tier system with it. Magic Kingdom has a tier. The old Fastpass system didn't have that, and I believe the same thing with Animal Kingdom. They didn't have a tier before. You will be able to, before buying, see what's available, which I think is interesting. You'll be able to see what you can get. So my argument right away was, if my first day is going to be at Hollywood Studios and I'm competing with people that have been booking for a week already, there's not going to be a whole lot left. But then that allows me to see what is left and if it's worth the time for me to pay for it. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I was gonna say that. So Lawrence has had. I have had no experience with Genie Plus or Lightning Lanes because, we're here all the time, and we're able to just, if we miss something, we can do it another time. So I was gonna
cry. Why don't you cry about being local?
I know, it's terrible. It's so bad. They're making me go tomorrow too. That's my daughter sometimes, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to go. But I get it. So I was going to say to you, with him saying that, I want to know this. Because somebody said something online today, and it made me think for me, because I wasn't even thinking of annual pass holders. Are we really going to suffer by this, you think, with your experience? Or from what Brian said, he feels like, well, people are going to pick 7 days before me. I'm not going to, I'll over-exaggerate, I'm not going to get anything good. My gut says you still will get everything available that you want to. I don't think we're going to go into that 7th or 8th day where things are just not available. I think that there's enough, right, where you should be able to get on like the day or 3 days before and still get on Rise if you want to. Did you find that things were always available for you, Lawrence, booking? Or maybe you too, Brian?
So I didn't use Fastpass at all. I missed that portion of Disney. I was before Fastpass and then Genie Plus.
I mean, with your Lightning Lane experience.
So I can't compare it to being able to pick prior to getting there.
Oh, I can compare that though, because
Okay.
I mastered that. I was really good at that. We were so good at that. It would be like if we went into Magic and we did Big Thunder. A couple days before going, I'd be like, okay, we're going to go to Magic. Okay, let me go in. I would grab it was always good to grab the mountains, like Snow White, Big Thunder, and Space, because you could work your way around the park with the other stuff, and you would know that, okay, we're going on Space Mountain first. So you get on Space Mountain, and then once you do that, you can grab another one, and we would just grab another one after that and just work our way around. So that wasn't much of a problem. It wasn't, to answer my question, for Fastpass only, not an issue. Everything's always available, even the day of. So I don't think that's going to be a problem either with Genie Plus. Good. I mean with Multipass, which every time I say it, I think of Fifth Element. So. I just don't. I think with the changes that they've made with DAS and the standby lines seem to be lower because of that, I think that we're going to end up having more multipass available.
Okay. With the old Fastpass, you had to use all 3 of them that you had booked before you could start booking more.
Right.
And this one, as soon as you use that first one, you can start doing it. And I like that too, because now I only have to worry about getting one booked early in the morning so that I can keep booking.
Right.
And, back to your question, Corey, about experience with booking and having availability under the Genie Plus system. I only used it once, and that was at Hollywood Studios. And we got everything we wanted. I was up right away in the morning. I got Slinky Dog. It was later in the day. I actually pushed it back from when we got it. But then, I was able to pick up everything else that we wanted along the way and get onto everything. It was a very relaxing day. So I also don't think it will be a problem to get what you want booking a week ahead of time. Because I know that there was a stat set at a shareholders meeting at one time that 30% of guests were using Genie Plus, were paying for it. So that, coupled with the fact that they've reduced the amount of DAS abuse, I think we're going to be just fine, just like Lawrence was saying. So,
see, I didn't even think about that part. So you're only talking about 30% of the people who used it are using it, compared to almost 100% would have used Fastpass back in the day because it was free.
Right.
So
yeah.
I think you're going to find some availability, even with, you think about dining, right? You can book dining 60 days out, right? And you'll find Cinderella's Royal Table and Be Our Guest and Steakhouse 71 are all gone. But then day of, they all show up again, right? So
yeah, that's true.
The same thing would happen with this. It may appear that they're gone on day one, but then they're gonna populate again, I think.
Disney Dina is coming in and saying now the playing field will be stacked in favor of those on property who can book for the whole week. I don't know that the amount of guests going into a park numbers that much. I don't think there's enough people coming from the resorts that are going to really affect the playing field, as you say. I feel like there's probably more people off property coming in to a park during the day than people that are staying on property. So having that benefit, and now obviously I'm biased because I'm always staying on property, but I think having that benefit for people on property is a good thing, and it just helps sell hotel rooms.
True.
Yeah, that's understandable from Disney's standpoint for sure.
Yeah, if I was going to stay off property at a resort that was going to cost me, $140, or stay on property at All Star that's going to cost me $160, now I might go to there because there's another perk to staying on property.
Right.
What do we think cost is going to be like? Do you think it'll? What do you? I mean, you're used to using it, Lawrence. Compared to what things have been, what would you expect? Put on your retail hat. Like, what is this going to go for?
I don't think we're going to see much of a change from what it is today, right? So we're certainly not going to go back to the first Genie where it was $15 or $12, whatever it was. Now it has that dynamic pricing where per day changes and per park changes, right? So Animal Kingdom today is much cheaper than Epcot and Magic, right? Magic will always cost the most, and it will mirror buying it for multi-park. So I think it's going to stay about the same. I don't think it's really going to change.
So I don't know a lot about this. So if this is in effect, it's July 24th, and I'm going to Hollywood Studios on Saturday, and I want to assure that we get on Rise of the Resistance. Is that going to cost me like $13 to do it per person, or am I way off? What do you think?
Well,
because you don't have to do anything else, right? You can just go do that individual ride under a Lightning Lane now.
Oh well, Rise. So Rise is Rise the individual?
Yep.
What is it going to be? Is it going to be? Do we know?
I believe it still is, yes, if I remember the chart I looked at.
Yeah, I don't think it's changing. So yeah, you could just do that. You don't have to pay. So then you would do the single pass for Rise, and that will ensure you get on Rise that day.
And do we think it'll be that expensive? Like, you can do a single pass for that, but it's going to be $13 or?
Yeah, I
You
think
think-
it's about that.
Isn't it 17 right now? I think it's 17.
Oh gosh,
Yeah, I was going to say it's
never. See, that's the difference though, right? Being an annual pass holder, I would never pay that to get on Rise. But if I was on vacation and it was my only chance to do it, then I would do it. So I think it favors vacationers more.
Or you come into one of our shows where we give you the tip. There's ways to get on Rise without having to pay for it. And it's not by jumping the line and jumping wait till the show at the Chinese theater starts. Everybody goes, starts heading over there, or even better, 10 minutes before the park closes, head over there. Or if you have two shows of Fantasmic, and Fantasmic is at 8 o'clock, head over to Rise at 7:55. Watch how quickly you get on Rise.
And that same exact thing applies for Flight of Passage,
Mm-hmm.
Where Animal's limited for rides. If you don't sweat it, work the park everywhere else, and just know I'm ending the night on Flight of Passage. And my history with that ride from day one of it opening is you're not going to wait more than 25 minutes, 30 max, to get on that at the end of the night.
Yeah.
And we experienced it by getting to Hollywood. I think we were there 40 minutes before open and made a beeline, and it was pretty much a walk on. We didn't really stop moving.
Awesome.
There were quite a few people in line, but we didn't really stop moving until you got right up to that first checkpoint. So I mean, if you do that, you're spending most of your time waiting outside the park instead of during park time. So,
Brian,
there are ways, right?
what's a ride that if you had to pay for it, you'd pay for it every time?
Great question.
Do I have
Can
to
we
pay for all of 5 members of my family?
That's fine.
I only see you right now.
Exactly.
Probably at this point it's Guardians.
Yeah.
I have not paid for it every time. The last trip we were on, I didn't pay for it. We got the virtual queue and that was it.
Yeah. For me, it'd be Guardians again. It Guardians or Rise, but I say Guardians wins out because I like the speed, but the experience that you get on Rise is just, it's just so immersive. It's just I can see why that's still the individual Lightning Lane, soon to be single pass, for sure.
Yeah. Rise, like you said, it's an incredible experience, but for just sheer fun, going to Guardians is going to be that I'd pay for. Yeah.
Corey, what would be yours?
I think it's between those two rides as well. I love them both. My bias for Star Wars just makes me feel guilty for going the other way.
I saw this question today on social. It said, if you are not a Star Wars fan, is it worth going on Rise of the Resistance?
Yes.
It's the greatest ride experience in the world. I will say that.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it in the world.
I said there's no way. I don't. Will you understand the story more if you're a Star Wars fan? Absolutely, but you don't miss Rise of the Resistance. Mm-mm.
No, so I'd probably side with I would pay for Rise. And I love Cosmic Rewind so much. I think it's the best coaster in the world right now.
It's incredible. Yeah, it really is.
So much fun.
And Disney Dina is saying, I'm not a Star Wars fan and I love ROR. My wife, my daughter, the same way. They want to get on it every time we go, and they will not sit down and watch Star Wars with me. So,
and I really admire the Empire Strikes Back poster behind you.
I was going to say, it doesn't appear that you are a Star Wars fan at all.
No, not at all. I still don't feel like, and I've been to Galaxy's Edge 3 or 4 times now. I still don't feel like I've had enough time there. So,
did you build a robot? A robot. Oh my gosh! Did you build a droid?
And you call yourself a Star Wars fan.
I know. I could kill myself where I stand right now. I can't believe I ever said that in my entire life. Build a robot. Where did that come from?
I did the droid experience. That was the first thing we did when I went. I did the lightsaber out in Disneyland when we were there with one other person in the room, and he was building a red one, and I wanted to fight him. But and I actually this last time I was considering another droid, but I passed it up. So yeah, I mean Star Wars is, everyone knows it's awesome. It's a great time. So, but the multi-pass, the language that I saw around using the fast passes, I guess, for lack of a better term, but for using that in multiple parks during the day, it just said you needed a park hopper. It didn't necessarily say you were buying the multi-day or the multi-park pass. So I'm wondering if it's just going to be back to a single price point, or if they will be breaking it down.
Maybe. Yeah, I didn't read that, but that language would kind of steer you that way. The thing I like about not having, you get the 3 in the beginning before your day, and then you only have to use one of them to go and pick the other. It's almost like stacking for Genie Plus, which I loved. I loved stacking it. Start at 7:00 and just pick, once the park opens. So 7 and then 11, 1, 3, 5, you're picking rides. By the time you get to 5:00, you could have 5 rides already stacked, ready to go. And then during the day, you were doing, Hall of Presidents and anything that was a walk-on, and killing your time that way. And then at night, you're just going bang, 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 Big Thunder, Space, all the big ones. So I kind of like that because it kind of gives you a little bit of that stacking ability.
I would agree with that, and that's kind of how we did it in Hollywood Studios. Is that we were able to, I was even pushing back our Slinky Dog right away so that we could try to stack a little better and get a couple more things in the afternoon or early evening, and then we were hitting the shows. I went and saw Frozen for the first time. We got to see Indy. We got to do Star Tours, which is a Lightning Lane, but we didn't need one. It was a 10-minute wait. So,
right.
Like it allowed. You're right. You can do things. We were actually like, well, now we don't have a Lightning Lane till 5:00. What do you want to do now? And that's where I would say that Genie Plus was a benefit to pay for it, because you could get what you wanted and be a little more relaxed about your day.
Yeah. But I'm glad, I knew that this was coming. They had kind of teased this, I want to say January. And we just kind of waited, and finally it's here. And I think it's more than I really expected. I kind of knew they were going to allow you to pick your rides before. But picking 3 is great. That kind of goes back to Fastpass Plus. And then to be able to use one and then pick another one, I think will work out really well for a lot of people. I do.
I completely agree.
I haven't talked to her in a while, but I have a friend that her area of cast membership is these things. Like her project was using your cell phone to tap in and things like that, like Fastpass stuff. She and I had multiple conversations back during COVID and when they were starting to put together Park Pass reservations, things like that. The Park Pass reservation system was the same exact computer program that ran Fastpass. And I said to her, here's a frustrating thing when I'm going in to book my Fast Passes. I said, it's like if I have 3 already, but I'm thinking, wow, you know what? I want to trade in Space Mountain Saturday for Pirates. But I'm afraid I would have to let one go to see what else was available, in the risk of losing Space Mountain in those 2 minutes that I want to go look. I told her it would be nice if you could see first what was offered before you commit like that. And she's like, wow, that's a great idea. So I thought of that conversation when you told me you can now peek in and see what's available before you let it go.
Before you buy, yeah. Yeah. I'd love to have a conversation with her, because I've heard that the people that do the phone stuff aren't a fan of the magic bands and vice versa, because they're kind of doing the same thing.
Listen.
And they're fighting each other on it. So
she's been in this very house, and I have a shelving system that's got over 100 magic bands in it. And, she got really excited when the phone stuff debuted and all that stuff. And she's like, make sure you use it. And I'm like, I showed her my shelves. I'm like, I love my magic bands. Yeah, this is what I've noticed in the parks. And I would take this for fact, because I know my merch. They have really slowed down on the production of Magic Band Pluses for whatever reasons. I mean, when they were new, we were getting new ones, on a weekly, bi-weekly basis. I can remember talking to a cast member when maybe Magic Band Pluses were out for, we'll even say a couple months, maybe, max. I remember talking to a cast member at the Emporium about, hey, do you know of anything else that's coming out? She's like, we've got about 10 or 20 new ones in the back that we're just slowly rolling out. We put a few out every Monday or something like that. But there has been nothing like that now. I mean, we did have Flower and Garden, and I love it. I got the Orange Bird one. But we're feeling like for some of these special events that you'd always count on a magic band, you're not getting them. We just had May the 4th. No magic band for the first year, maybe ever, that they've done May the 4th. There was no May the 4th Magic Band Plus, or regular, I think. So, I don't know. They're scaling back on those.
It kind of makes you wonder what's going on, because, like I said, there is this phone versus magic band thing going on. And obviously it allows people that don't want to pay for that magic band to just use their phone and not have to worry about it. But they put all this money into magic bands. Like, there's a big investment there.
Well, they're interactive too, right?
Yeah.
Even the newer stuff, like it works for Luminous. There was something recently I was surprised that it was working with, but it's doing its thing.
But there's something new that was announced that it's going to be interactive with. Some new show. It'll come to me. I like it for that reason. It's interactive. We went around and waved at all the statues. We've done the bounty hunting in Galaxy's Edge. We watch all the nighttime spectaculars, so it's nice for that.
Do you
we
watch
all have a 5-year-old. Yeah, I always watch it like this. No, every now and then I'll peek at it. That was the thing in the beginning when the Magic Band first came out. All the vloggers were doing that. They were holding up their Magic Band.
I did that.
Yeah. So, it's I remember I took a large group of my family to Disney in 22, and their souvenir was a Magic Band. It was just the Magic Band 2 or whatever. Wasn't the Plus wasn't out at that point. But I kind of used it as that thing. Hey, you're here. Thanks for coming. Let's go to World of Disney and pick out your favorite Magic Band. So, I kind of look at it that way. Obviously, Corey does too. He has over 100 of them. So Yeah.
Well, and we've got a bunch of them too, and we'd always use that as part of the planning process. Okay, time to get our magic bands. What do you guys want to get? And um, this last time around, mine quit working, and I didn't even care enough to go fix it. Like I came home with it not working. When I was there before that, I had my smartwatch on and my magic band on the other wrist, and I was getting confused.
I do that too.
Yeah.
I do that too. Yeah.
It's funny you talk about planning, right? And I mean, that's what I do. I'm like, what park am I going to? And I always have to coordinate my magic band with the park I'm going to. I've been slacking a little bit lately, but mostly I've got to do that. Yeah, I've got to match them. And I like to go, actually, I have one right beside me. I got this as a gift from a dear friend and viewer of the channel. And I've never been to Disneyland, but I love wearing this one to Magic Kingdom. Disneyland. Fun.
Well, guys, thank you for coming on the show. Where can everybody find you?
Tomorrow you can find them in Epcot.
Yeah, I'm going to be live in Epcot tomorrow. Anybody that's listening, live tomorrow, will be at Epcot for a live stream, just enjoying Luminous and probably grabbing a snack somewhere. We always try to make sure we make our live streams well-rounded, where we try a snack, we show the nighttime spectacular, we do some shopping. I do something on the channel where we close out Epcot every single time by doing the World Showcase walkthrough. That is when the nighttime show is over. When Luminous is done, I take an intimate, quiet walk. We take the energy down because I have a lot of energy. We take the energy down and we go through each and every country and we have some conversation. We take a little time to look at the architecture and things like that. And I've been known to put people to bed with that. They literally get into bed and start watching and fall asleep. So. But it's great. And what else, Lawrence? We've packed a lot of new content onto the channel. A lot of it is experimental in the sense that we're trying to see. I work a lot, and I have a hard time getting out there as much as I'd like. So we came out with something called Relivin' Diz. It's a play on words, but it's replaying some of our older live streams. And I think starting, what is that, Sunday that we're going to go back to the very first live stream and just start building those up towards current times. And we're also running
Thursday he's in Epcot. Friday we have a short coming out. Saturday he will be in Magic with the family riding Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And then Sunday we're going back to the very beginning. We're showing the first two live streams as they were when and that was March of 2019.
And we're running some overnights to a couple nights a week. There's one coming at 3 a.m., I believe, Eastern time, for all those folks on the other side of the world. Maybe we can introduce ourselves to some other people on the other side of the world who we can get to come on over and join the family. So lots of stuff going on there. We just came off a cruise. We have a new tab on the channel, Cruises. Mm-hmm. So we're going to start feeding that a little bit as well. And so lots going on the channel. We're having fun. The podcast is doing well and having fun working with my park bro down there. So lots going on over there. If you love Disney, you love the parks, you love family live streaming, that happens every Saturday on our channel for all the afternoon and all of the evening. So if you love Disney, come on over. Check us out.
I've definitely been trying to pop in whenever I can, and it is a very good time. I love it when your kids get a hold of the camera and take control. That's always a good time. Yeah.
My daughter was so great at all of that, and now she's older, so she doesn't come all the time. But man, that kid could still take that channel over anytime she wants and be so great at it. The chat just goes crazy when that girl gets in front of the camera. She's pretty magical.
And Jacob could have his own food review channel.
He really gets a lot of great comments on. I mean, he has, right? He's just turned a corner over the last, I don't even know, several months, 6 months or more. Like he can really break down a food review way better than me. And it goes back to the first days when he was like, "This fresh fruit waffle sandwich is very much delicious." But
Well,
thanks
that's
for having
awesome.
us, Brian. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you guys. And thanks everybody for watching, commenting, and for those of you listening on the feed, thank you for coming and listening there as well. We do have episodes every Tuesday. I did mention the lives are going to be a little more intermittent, so keep an eye on the Facebook for that. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and we'd love to have any of your thoughts and comments on what we've talked about tonight. So do that. But as we like to say, some live close, but others don't. So let's talk about it. We'll see you next time on Miles from Main Street. Oh, and I forgot to have my thing up. There it goes.
Awesome.
Hey, guys.